Please ask Manohar Hampanna to rejoin again. There is some technical problem. Please ask Manohar Hampanna to rejoin again. Okay. Are you able to see the screen, students? Screen is visible. You are able to see the screen? Yes. Students, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Fine. Okay. So good morning, students here. In the last class, I had discussed few points about the programmable logic controller PLC. So this PLC, as we know that it is a industrial grade computer which performs control oriented operations. It is a industrial grade computer. It is a industrial oriented computer performing control oriented operations. Okay. So such of the industrial grade computer, we call it as programmable logic controller. So with this brief definition of the programmable logic controller, let us move on to some other important concepts that we will be studying here in this subject about the programmable logic controllers. First one, let us take up the principles of operation. So let us consider a problem here, a simple process control problem, to get an idea as to how the PLC works, or get an idea as to how the PLC operates. So look into this figure here. So this figure is a motor process control problem. So we are seeing the this is a vat, a container, all right, in which there is a liquid filled. Okay, and we have to stir this liquid. We have to stir this liquid. Now, if we want to stir this liquid, then first we have to sense the pressure, then sense the temperature, and only if, remember, only if the pressure and the temperature reach the set point value, right? You may be familiar with the set point value, right? So only if the pressure and the temperature reach their set point value, then the motor will be turned on. Motor will be turned on, and that will rotate the liquid. The motor which is connected to this arrangement here, right? The motor which is connected to this arrangement here, this is going to rotate the liquid in this container, okay, or in a vat. So this is how we are monitoring this process control problem. So now we have to analyze this process control problem, and then we have to draw the diagram, that is the relay ladder diagram. We know that it is a conventional method, or the original method of drawing the, that is understanding the process control problem. And then later on we'll be drawing the PLC ladder rung diagram. Ladder rung diagram, which is an advanced that is program to make use of the PLC and to control the various output parameters. Now, if we want to rotate the liquid here, then there is also a manual push button. There's also a manual push button here. So if you operate this push button, then also the motor turns on and it stirs the liquid, or it uh, rotates the liquid. Okay. So this is how we are monitoring this process here. This is a simple motor process control problem. Let us try to understand here what is this motor process control problem. A mixer motor is used to automatically stir the liquid in a vat, that is in a container, only if the temperature and the pressure reach their set point value. Only if the temperature and the pressure reach their defined value, predefined value, or the set point value, the fixed value, the reference value, only then the motor will be turned on. So this motor is this motor is operated by a push button. Motor is operated by a push button. So you can see here, this is a push button to operate the motor. Either when the pressure and the temperature reach their set point value, the motor will start to rotate automatically, or the push button is operated so as to operate the motor and to stir the liquid in the container. Fine. Process is monitored with temperature and pressure sensor switches that close the respective contacts only if the condition, that is the pressure and the temperature reach their set point value. Here we are monitoring the process, and the temperature and pressure sensor switches close their contacts. So if the contact is open, then it is considered as 0. If the contact is closed, then it is considered as 1 or the high. So this process control problem can be solved using the relay method as shown in the relay ladder diagram. So next we will be seeing the relay ladder diagram. This is the relay ladder diagram. Now look here, there is a pressure switch here. So this is how the pressure switch symbol is denoted. Then there is a temperature switch. So it is applied with the voltage. The setup is applied with the 120 volt AC voltage. Then this is the manual push button. Okay. Then we have the motor. Once the pressure temperature switches get closed, the motor will be energized so as to rotate the liquid in the container. Right. And this is the coil, the motor starter coil, and this is the output. That is a motor coil, that is arrangement, so that is connected to L1 and L2, the line voltages, that is 120 volt AC. Okay, so now here we have to understand why it is connected only in this way. What is the necessity of connecting the pressure switch, temperature switch in series, and why we are connecting the push button in parallel. Now what is the problem? We have to know the problem here. So the problem is the pressure switch and temperature switches, when they reach their defined value, when the pressure reaches its defined value and when the temperature reaches its defined value, then the motor will start to operate. So that is one condition, that is pressure switch and temperature switch, when both of them close their contacts only when their values reach the fixed value or the reference value. And then once they reach the fixed value, that is going to energize the motor, that is it is going to turn on the motor and the motor coil, and then because of this we can control the other parameters later. Okay, once you turn on the motor, what is the parameter that we are controlling here? We are trying to rotate the or stir the liquid in the container. Correct. So that is how this is pressure and temperature switches are connected in series. Now why the push button is connected in parallel? Now as I told here, the push button, that is the motor, can operate automatically when the pressure and temperature switches reach their fixed value, or when the push button is operated, then also the motor is made to rotate manually. So here we have to put this manual push button in parallel, that is it's a OR condition. So pressure switch and temperature switch, that is one condition, when they close their contacts, motor is energized. And one more condition is when the push button is operated and the push button contact is closed, then the motor is energized or the motor is turned on. And hence we are placing pressure switch and temperature switch in series and the manual push button in parallel with this arrangement of series combination of pressure switch and the temperature switches. Okay, are you following here, students? Yes, are you following here? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this control problem can be solved using the relay method. So this is the relay ladder diagram using the wiring connections with the relay switch with the relay. It's called as a relay ladder diagram. Relay ladder diagram. Okay. Then the motor starter coil M is energized when both the pressure and temperature switches are closed or when push button is pressed. So that's the OR condition. That's what I told. Motor starter coil is energized when first condition is when pressure and temperature switches are closed. That is the first condition. They are in series, or when the push button is pressed. When the push button is pressed, that time also the motor will operate, but it is manually. If you are operating pressure and temperature switches which is getting closed, that is automatic operation of the motor. Fine. Let's see how a programmable logic controller is used for a particular application. Now here we have drawn the ladder diagram. This is the relay ladder diagram as it is called, using this switches, temperature switch, motor coil arrangement, but the same can be drawn using symbols, and those symbolic diagram, it is called as the ladder rung or the ladder instructions, ladder rung diagram, which is for the PLCs, programmable logic controllers. And in this ladder rung diagram, the same pressure switch is used, temperature switch and push button, all the components are same, right? Even the output devices are also same, input devices are also same, right? Input devices are this pressure switch, temperature switch and the push button. And what is the output device here, students? Output is the motor that is connected in the output circuit, is it not? So inputs are the pressure and temperature switches. They are applying the input based on the condition that is achieved. It is controlling the operation of the motor. So these come under input components, and the motor will come in the output component. Okay. Then this is how the relay, that is a ladder rung diagram, is done for the PLCs. So the again it's the same 120 volts AC voltage is applied as shown here. Okay. So this is nothing but the wiring connection for 120 volt AC modular configured input module. Okay. So this is the how the wiring connection is done for the that is what all we discussed till now, how the wiring connection is done from the input module to these input components. So as you can look in this figure, this is the input module. For PLCs, it requires input module, output module to be connected. It is not like a computer where all the that is monitor, keyboard, all are fixed. But for the PLCs, they are not fixed. They are connected from external input module or the output module. They are connected externally. This pressure switch or the pressure sensor is connected to first input here. This is input module. It is connected to first input. Temperature switch is connected to second input. Then manual push button is connected to third input. So they are arranged in a zigzag manner here. It is zigzag manner. 0 input, first input, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh input. So like this, you can connect how many inputs here? Can anybody tell me? If you look into this figure, how many inputs can be connected maximum for this particular arrangement? Yes, please. How many inputs we can connect? Look into this input module. How many terminals are there here? One input terminal, I am connecting it to pressure switch. 8, very good. 0 to 7, fantastic. So 8 input terminals. So we can connect 8 such input sensors. That is input devices, input components. Okay. Then again they are applied with the line and the neutral. Okay, 120 volt AC voltage, the line and the neutral. This is the common connection here, which is connected to the neutral, and the other end of these sensors that is connected to the line voltage. Okay, so it is 120 volt AC. So this is a typical wiring connections for a 120 volt AC modular configured input module. Similarly, we can connect the output devices also. The output device here in our problem, it is the motor or the motor coil. Again, we have to wire the output connections. That is called as the hard wiring. Hard wired means we are wiring the output connections. That is connecting the output components to the output module of the PLC. Wiring connections for 120 volt AC modular configured output module is shown in the next figure. We can see in this figure here. So this is the output module. Output module. So as we understood that in the input module, we are connecting 8 inputs. Similarly, here also in the output module, we are connecting 8 outputs. 8 outputs. Okay. So one output we have already connected to one to the line terminal. That is a line voltage. Then there is the incoming supply voltage from the socket of your switch. Then the first here, this particular output, we are connecting it to the motor or the motor starter coil, and then it is connected to the neutral. So in this arrangement, again we can connect maximum 8 output components, is it not? So this is how the output module is configured for connecting the output components, right? So this OL, whatever you're saying, this symbol, what is there here? So this cross mark. Why it is cross mark here? For the motor coil or for the motor. Okay, is a cross mark for this arrangement here for this particular switch or the coil, because it is normally closed. Okay, it is normally open. Sorry, normally open. Okay, it is connected to output line voltage here. Sorry, the it is a coil, right? And it is normally open here. OL is a output coil, that is a motor coil arrangement. Now when this motor is energized, then this contact will get closed. That is why it is shown as cross mark here. Can see this line here, that is the cross line. So this indicating that the motor is initially in the off state. Once we are energizing the motor, that is once we are sending the signal, the required voltage for the operation of the motor, when the motor starts to rotate, and that time this coil will be energized, or this switch will be turned on. Okay, that is why we are making it cross line here for this particular output component of the motor starter coil. Okay. The PLC ladder logic program is constructed and entered into the memory. So I discussed about a scanning process in the last class. Is it not? Scanning process. Now, if we want to execute the PLC, if we want to make the PLC to work as per our requirement, as per the requirement of the user, then we have to write a program. Feed that program or store that program into the memory of the PLC, and then once that program is executed, then the PLC will work according to our requirement. So that is how the PLC ladder logic program or the ladder rung diagram or the ladder instructions are written or constructed here, and then they are entered into the memory of the PLC. Memory is nothing but a storage device which stores the program. Again, in memory, it may be storing of the data, which is called as data memory. If it is storing the instructions, then it is called as the instruction memory. Instruction memory is meant to store the instructions, whereas data memory is meant to store the data. Ladder logic program for this process is shown in the next figure. So you can see here. So this is the ladder diagram. This is the ladder diagram for the process control PLC ladder logic program. We can see here, this is the input section. Again, we are connecting with the line voltage L1. Then these are the input sensors. One is the pressure sensor, that is indicated by this. Note that there is a slight change in the representation of the pressure switch and the temperature switch. This is first one is I1. I/1 means it is input 1. First input is connected to pressure sensor. Then second one, it is temperature sensor. Look at how it is, that is symbolic representation of the temperature sensor. This is for the pressure sensor. Okay, and for the temperature sensor, the symbolic notation is slightly different as compared to that of the pressure sensor. Then this is manual push button. You know how to represent a push button. Okay, this is how it is represented. If you close it, if you press it, the contacts become closed. So it is a push button representation, symbolic notation. Then here we are having the pressure switch, temperature switch. What is this then? Now you may ask me one question. Sir, here you are telling that this is pressure sensor, this is temperature sensor, manual push button. Then why you have again denoted here or represented here these switches, pressure switch, temperature switch, and the manual push button? Students, here what all I have indicated in the initial part of the diagram, this is the input module or the input section. Okay, and what is being shown here, this is in the form of switches here, that is the ladder rung diagram. It is ladder rung diagram or the ladder instructions. Pressure switch, it is I/1. Then temperature switch, it is I/2. Okay, input 2 connected to temperature switch. Then push button is connected to, that is input 3. Then finally the motor, it is connected to the output arrangement, motor starter coil. Okay, then come to the output module. come to the output module. So the output module is connected here. Okay, this is the output section that is connected here on the output part of the circuit. That is motor is connected, and again the switch for that motor. Okay, O/1 means output 1, right? And again the line voltage here L2, right? So student, this is how we have to draw the ladder rung diagram. Ladder rung diagram. Okay. Now, once we understand how to draw the ladder rung is similar to the relay logic. Instead of relay logic, we are representing there by switches. That is pressure switch, temperature switch, and the push button. But here we are using the instructions. So these are called as instructions. Pressure switch is indicated by this symbol, temperature switch, then manual push button. This is a symbolic representation of the ladder rung diagram. Clear here? Once we know how to draw the PLC ladder diagram, the logic remains the same. There is no change in the logic between the relay ladder diagram and the PLC. Only the way in which the components are represented is different. If we see here in the relay ladder diagram, okay, this is our relay ladder diagram, is it not? Here we are representing by the switches, pressure switch, temperature switch, manually we are representing these components, correct? But in the ladder diagram, what we are doing, we are drawing the input section, we are drawing the output section, and in between we are showing the program or the instructions. Okay, like how we have C language, C++ language, Java language. Okay, similarly we have a program or the instructions to write the program for the, that is the ladder rung diagram. Okay, for the PLCs. Fine. Next, then below here I have shown something. What is this? Can you just try to understand here? Monitor the inputs. See the first block. Monitor the inputs. That is, it checks the inputs, executes the program, executes the control program, and changes the outputs. Changes the outputs. Okay, that is, it updates the outputs. So can you just think of what are these steps, or what is this process called as? Motor inputs. It is applying the inputs, executing this ladder rung diagram or the program, right? In the run mode, the PLC is executed in the run mode to execute this program, and then finally getting the output or changing the outputs according to our requirement, and then finally controlling the output parameters. So can you think of these, students, what is this process called as? I have discussed about this process in the first class. In my previous class, can you make an identification as to what is this particular process called as? Can anybody tell me what is this particular process called as? Yes, please. Can you give a thought of it? There is a particular name for this process. That is checking the inputs, accordingly executing the program stored in the PLC memory, and then changing the outputs or obtaining the final required output. What is this particular process called as?
Automation.
Yes. Automation. Okay. Any other answers? Any other answers, students? It is called as scan cycle. Scanning. Okay. Scanning means the same thing. I'll just repeat once again. Monitor the inputs, check for the inputs, then execute this program, ladder program, in the keeping the PLC in the run mode. That I like how you execute the C program, right? You run the C program, is it not? Then you get the required output. So this complete process is called as the scanning or the scan cycle. Okay. Here we are representing the symbols in the ladder diagram, and we are using the IO address format. IO address format is numbering the input. That's what I told. we are numbering the inputs: input 1, input 2, input 3, output 1, output 2, output 3. Okay, so that is nothing but IO address format. It is called as input output addressing format or address format. So this IO address format will change according to the type of PLC that is used and according to the manufacturer. Some manufacturer, as we saw in this diagram here, if you look into this particular figure here, yes. So instead of connecting to 0 output, they have connected it to first output. It depends on the manufacturer. It is left to them. According to their industrial specifications, they are connecting this motor to output number 1. Okay, so like this we can, that is it depends on the manufacturer. According to their that is the industrial requirement, according to their industrial specification, they are connecting the required inputs and outputs to specific terminals. It depends on the PLC also, and it depends on the manufacturer also. Clear here? Okay. During the program scan, the controller monitors the inputs, executes and changes outputs. For the program to operate, controller is placed in the run mode. If you are placing the controller or the programmable logic controller PLC in the run mode, then it executes the program. In the ladder logic program of figure 5, the coil O bar I is energized when contacts I1 and I2 are closed, or when contact I3 is closed. Again, the same thing. One among these two conditions provides, this is important here. If you are looking into this figure, the signal propagates from input to the output. Can you tell me, students, what is necessary for the signal to travel? You might have heard of wireless signals, wireless communication, your mobile communication. Okay, so whenever these signals are communicating, or telephonic signals, if a signal is communicating from the transmitting end to the receiving end, what is necessary? One is the medium is necessary, either a wire or the wireless transmission, correct? And one more important thing is it requires continuity. Without continuity, the signal cannot reach from input to the output, or from the transmitter part to the receiving part. Okay, only if the signal is continuous from the transmitter through the intermediate media or to the intermediate logic and finally to the output, there should be continuity. Only then the signal can reach from the transmitting section to the receiving section. So the controller is placed in the run mode. That is the point that I have indicated here. One among these two conditions provides continuous logic path from the left to right across the rung. It provides the continuous logic path. A PLC operates in real time. Now, what is the meaning of real time operation of the PLC? Real time operation of the PLC means, now when does the PLC identify the inputs, or when does the PLC finds the, that is, when does it go for scanning, or when does it execute the program? It does that only when it has identified the inputs. Before identifying the inputs, what is the process control problem that we are studying? It is stirring of the liquid in the vat, correct? Now, when does the motor stir the liquid in the container? Yes, please. When does the motor starts stirring the liquid or rotating the liquid in the container? Tell me, please. When does it start? Yes. When does it start?
After receiving the input.
Very good. Which inputs?
Pressure sensor switch and temperature switch.
Excellent. So when it receives the signal from the pressure and the temperature sensor, only then the motor will operate. This is called as a real-time operation or the real-time event. Okay, real-time event or the real-time operation means only when the event is occurring. What is the event here in this particular example? Pressure sensor and the temperature sensor operating, or they are reaching their reference value. This is the event. This event is causing the motor to stir the liquid in the container or to make a process to get the required output. Fine. So that is what we are calling as the, that is real-time event. The run operation for the process control scheme is described by the sequence of events. Whenever the run operation takes place for the process control scheme or for the process control equipment, then how does it operate? First, the pressure switch, temperature switch, and push button inputs are examined. They are monitored. Their status is recorded. When the status of these switches are to be recorded, now if the contact is open, then it is registered. It is stored as 0 in the memory of PLC. If the contacts are closed, then it is storing as 1 in the memory of the PLC. Remember, it may be for input devices or for the output devices. If the contacts are closed, right? If the contacts are closed, it is storing as 1 in the memory of the PLC. If the contacts are open, then it is storing as 0 in the memory of the PLC. Right? So that is how we have to monitor these input components. Then next step, a closed contact, that's what I told. A closed contact is recorded as 1, logic 1, and open contact as logic 0. Then third step, so these are the different steps. This may be asked in examination. Explain the sequence of operations or the sequence of events when the run operation for the process control scheme is executed. When the run operation for the process control scheme is executed, what are the different sequence of events? Okay. The next step, ladder diagram is evaluated. That is, the ladder diagram is executed. Again, the ladder diagram, when it executes, it checks whether the contact is closed, whether the 1 is stored in the memory. If it is yes, then accordingly it will operate. It will check if a 0 is stored in the memory. If 0 is stored, then what it should control, how it should control. All that it will decide based on the way in which we have written the program. Is it not, students? It is the way in which we are writing the program that decides the output. Okay. The PLC will not provide the output on its own. No. It is the program that we are feeding, the program that we are storing into the memory of the PLC that is making the output to control or making the output to obtain. Okay. So that is how the open and closed contacts are deciding the based on the ladder diagram or the ladder instructions. When the states of the input contacts provide logic continuity, that is when there is a logic continuity from input to output, only then the process is complete and then it will control the output parameters. When there is no logic continuity, then what will happen? When there is no logic continuity of the program rung or the ladder rung diagram, output coil memory location will be storing a 0. Output coil memory location, that is for the output coil, whatever is the particular memory location in the PLC memory, that will be storing a 0 if there is no logic continuity anywhere in the process or anywhere in the input section or in the output section or in the ladder rung diagram. Then this is called as one complete cycle, and hence the sequence is called as a scan or is a scan cycle. Figure 6 shows wiring required to implement the process control scheme using the fixed PLC controller. Next we will see, students, what is a fixed PLC controller. This is the fixed PLC. There are two types of PLC. One is called as fixed PLC. Okay. So here it is fixed PLC. It is called, the name is given to this is because all are inbuilt. The input module, the output module, what all the different modules are coming, they're all inbuilt into the PLC, and hence it is called as fixed type of PLC. So this particular PLC is given by the manufacturer Allen Bradley. Allen Bradley is the name of the manufacturer who has manufactured this particular PLC, and it is Pico controller. There are different types of PLCs: nano PLC, micro PLC, medium PLC, large PLC, based on the size of the PLC. And this size is nothing but it is based on the number of inputs and outputs. Okay, we'll see that later. Now, if we look into this diagram, we have the inputs I1, I2, I3. These are the inputs here. Okay, and L1 and L2 are the line terminals to apply the required voltage, that is 120 volt AC. Then pressure, temperature switches are connected, push button switch is connected to I1, I2, I3. Then this is the program here. The program is in the form of the ladder rung diagram. The ladder rung diagram. Okay. Then the output. This is the output. Outputs that is terminals. Okay. O1, O2, O3, and O4. Now, if you look into this particular figure, then how many inputs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 inputs or 8 input terminals. Okay. The number of output terminals, how many output terminals are there, students? There are 4 output terminals: O1, O2, O3, and O4. There are 4 output terminals, right? We have connected the inputs to the input components. The output, that is the motor here in our example, we have connected to the output terminal, and in between the input and output we are showing the program. That is our ladder rung diagram, and this is the motor arrangement, the stator and the rotor, whatever the motor is having, and when the field of the stator interacts with the field of the rotor, that is how it is making the rotor to rotate. Okay, when the magnetic field of the stator and the rotor interact, there is a mechanical action produced, and due to this mechanical action, the rotor is made to rotate. Figure 6 shows wiring required to implement the process control scheme using the fixed PLC controller. In this example, Allen Bradley Pico controller or Pico PLC with 8 inputs and 4 outputs is meant to control the process, or it is meant to monitor the process. Power lines, there are 2 power lines. One is L1, another one is L2. L1 power line, another one is L2 power line. Line voltages. Pressure switch, temperature switch, and push button, they are hardwired between L1 and controller input terminals I1, I2, and I3. The motor starter coil is connected to L2. Ladder program is entered. How the ladder program is entered here? We are entering the ladder program using certain instructions that we'll see at the end of this particular section. Today's presentation, the different instructions that are used to write the program for the PLC. Okay, there are various instructions, as there are instructions for writing a C program. Okay, when you write a C program, you use a for statement or you use a while loop, correct? Similarly, there are certain instructions for the PLC also. We'll take up that in the last part of this presentation. Ladder logic program is entered using the front keypad and the LCD display. So you are entering the ladder rung diagram, the instructions using the keypad, and you are also able to see that on the LCD display, what all instructions you are typing. One of the main features of PLC is that the program can be changed easily. We can change the program, but in the that is the relay ladder diagram, it is not possible to change as much easily as that it is possible with the PLCs. Okay, with the PLCs we can just change the instructions. If we just change the instructions or the ladder instructions, that will give us the required program. But in the relay ladder diagram, it is not so. In the relay ladder diagram, it is not so, because there we are required to change the wirings. Wiring should be changed. That is a difficulty for the relay ladder diagram. But there is not that much difficulty in PLCs. It is comparatively easier to change the program in the PLC. Now let us slightly modify our process. So our process was, we have seen the original process, right? Let us modify this original process for mixing operation as shown in the next figure. See here, this is the figure which shows the modification in our process. What is the change, students? Here, can you identify the change between our first relay ladder diagram and this modified relay ladder diagram? What is the change? What you are observing here in this relay ladder diagram, and how it is different from the first relay ladder diagram what we discussed? Yes, please. Can anybody identify here? What is the change when you look into this diagram? What change you can observe between the first and this one? Yes, please. What change you can observe?
The manual push button is connected
Yes.
between pressure switch and temperature switch.
Excellent. That is, in the previous ladder diagram, if we see right here, I'll just show that. Yes, we'll see this only. So in this, we take up the relay ladder diagram. Here, relay ladder diagram, process pressure switch and temperature switch, they are connected in series, and then in parallel to that, the manual push button is connected. Now what I'm doing is, what we are doing here is, I'm changing the connecting point. Instead of connecting pressure and temperature switch in series with the manual push button in parallel, I'm connecting pressure switch and manual push button in parallel, and that combination in series with the temperature switch. That is in the next diagram here. Okay. Now, if we change in this way, then how does it operate? If we change in this way, how does it operate? Can anybody try to analyze here? Analysis is needed. Yes, slight analysis, slight thinking is needed as to how this diagram works. How this diagram works. Can anybody give a thought on it? Pressure switch and manual button are connected in parallel, correct? So when pressure switch is closed, right, and when temperature switch is closed, correct, then the motor is energized. That is one point. Another point is when the manual push button is closed and when temperature switch is closed. Note that previously what was the condition, what was the point for the first relay diagram what we had drawn earlier? Manual push button, when it is closed, then immediately the motor will get energized. But here it is not like that. Manual push button when it is closed and when the temperature switch is closed, only then the motor will get energized. Okay, a slight difference in the previous relay diagram and this particular one. Okay, so got the logic here, students? The same 120 volts AC voltage is applied. Setup, everything, components are same. Only the way in which you are connecting the input components is slightly change. Okay. The change is that manual push button operates at any pressure, but are not unless the specified temperature setting has been reached. That is what it is. The manual push button operates at any pressure, but only when manual push button closes its contact and temperature sensor closes its contact, only then the motor is going to get energized. If relay system is used, then it requires rewiring of the circuit. If you are using a relay system, the rewiring of the circuit is needed. Principles of operation: if PLC system is used, wiring is not necessary. Inputs and outputs are still the same. All that is required is to change the PLC ladder logic program as shown in the figure 8. Okay, so this is the PLC program. You can see the switch, pressure switch, temperature switch, slight motor starter coil and the manual push button switch. The whatever we had drawn earlier, it is same, only the connecting points are different. Switches remain the same as we had drawn here. The switches remain the same. Pressure switch is same, it's a contact, right? And this is a switch, temperature switch, all everything is same. Instead of connecting here at the end point of the temperature switch to the manual push button, the manual push button is connected to the end point of the pressure switch. Okay, the end point of pressure switch is connected to the end point of the pressure switch, and the end point of these is connected to the starting point of the temperature switch. Fine. So that is how the slight changes in the relay ladder diagram. Now students, let us try to compare the PLCs versus computers. What are the differences between the programmable logic controllers and the computers? Now, can you point out few differences here, students? What is the first difference? The definition I told in today's class about the PLC. That is our first comparison. PLC operates in the industrial environment, that is under extreme humidity and extreme temperature conditions, or wide range of temperature and humidity conditions. That is the definition of PLC. Now, what about computers? Computers work in a normal environment. We know in which environment they work. Yes, we all are familiar where the computers work. We are using them in our offices. We are using them in schools, colleges, right? Homes, personal computers, right? So these are the places where the computers work. PLC is not affected by the electrical noise in industrial locations. In the industrial locations, there are certain possibilities. There is a certain possibility that there can be electrical noise. So that electrical noise is not going to affect the PLCs. But if we are using the computers may get affected by the electrical noise, by the fluctuations in the electrical signal, Okay, that is the second difference. Then in the ladder diagram, we are very much clear about that. For the PLCs, we are using ladder instructions or the ladder rung diagram, whereas for computers, we use other languages such as C, C++, Java, Visual Basic, all those different languages. Then, as I told earlier, PLCs does not have permanently attached keyboard or the monitor or the CD drive. PLCs do not have permanently attached keyboard or CD drive or the monitor, whereas computers have permanently attached keyboard, CD drive or the monitor. PLCs execute the programs in a sequential manner. Note the difference here, students. How does the PLC execute the programs? PLC executes the program one after another. Every instruction is executed after the previous instruction gets executed. If you are executing the next instruction, first the previous instruction should get executed and then only the next instruction gets executed. It is in a sequential fashion. Whereas for the computers, we can execute the different instructions all in a parallel. There are different programs, different modules. You have studied functions in C language, how to write a function. If you are writing a function for addition of two values, right, then you return the program from the subprogram or from the function to the main program, correct? So like that, if you are writing many functions, all those modules can be executed in parallel. That is one of the difference between PLCs and the computers. Then input output modules for connecting the field devices. On the field devices, if you want to connect to the input and output modules, it can be done easily with the PLCs. And even the field devices which all you want to connect to the input output modules, they can be replaced. Okay, so that replacement is possible with the PLCs. But with the computers, it is very difficult to connect the field devices to the input and output sections of the computer, and it is also difficult to replace them. Okay, connecting the field devices to computer system is complex and it is difficult to replace. Fine, students. In examination, they may ask, write the differences between PLCs and computers, or write the comparison between PLCs and computers. So you have to make a table, make two columns, one for PLC and another for computers, and then write down these points comparing PLCs with the computers. Okay. Hope everyone are following here. Yes. Any doubts up till now? Any doubts up till now, students?
No, sir.
Following, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions up till now? Can ask, please. Any questions up till now before we continue further? Yes, please. Any doubts? Any questions here? Anything you want to interact? Yes. Yes, please. Any questions, students? Any difficulty in understanding here what all we discussed up till now? Anything, any difficulty in understanding what all we have discussed till now? Yes, please. Any problem in understanding? Students? Any problem in understanding?
Sir, we can use any other programming languages other than relay ladder logic, sir.
Yes,
Is it
sure.
possible?
It is possible, definitely, definitely. As I told in the last class, there are certain charts that are available, functional charts. Okay,
Okay, sir.
functional charts that are available. That is one way. That is another way of writing a program. Then functional body diagrams. There are certain
Okay.
diagrams that are available, functional body diagrams. We can use them also to write the program, apart from using the ladder rung diagram or the relay ladder relay ladder
Okay.
logic. Relay ladder logic is the oldest one. It is a very old one, conventional one. Okay,
Yes.
but when
Yes.
we come to the ladder rung diagram, it is the newest version as compared to that of the relay logic. And then apart from that, we can use the other representations also, other programming languages also, that is functional body diagram or the functional chart representation. That is also possible. Okay. Good
Okay.
question. Any other questions? Any other questions, students? If you are having any other questions, please ask. Shall we continue then? Shall we continue further? Students? Okay. PLC size and application. How to decide the size of a PLC? Okay. And what are the applications of the PLC? Now, if we want to classify the PLCs, the criteria is we are classifying the PLCs based on the functionality, based on the number of inputs and output terminals, right? Based on the cost and based on the physical size. Okay, so based on these four factors, we are classifying the PLCs based on the functionality, based on the number of inputs and outputs, cost factor, and the physical size. Among all these four factors, the important one is the input and outputs, number of inputs and outputs, IO count. Count means the number of inputs and the output terminals. So as I told previously, there are four types of PLCs based on their sizes. One is the nano PLC, which is the smallest size, which is having only 15 inputs and outputs. Then next higher version is micro PLC. So this micro PLC is having the inputs between, that is 15 to 128. 15 to 128 input output points. It is called as micro PLCs. Then coming to the medium sized PLCs, which are having the number of inputs and outputs between 120 to 1. Number of input terminals, yes. Micro PLC available Then for the it's a small process for micro nanoparticles. It depends on the which we see appropriate to satisfy